What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. Ryan here. Today we're going to be doing another review on a saddle. We're going to be taking a look at the Cruzr XC. Let's jump into the details. So this saddle XC means expansion chamber. So when it's opened or deployed, it's going to have this pleated design built within the saddle that's going to allow it to become sort of modular in a way where it's going to increase in its overall length from top to bottom. So for someone that is looking for a single panel design that allows a little bit more comfort and cupping, it's going to be able to expand, give you everything you need in a single panel design with all the benefits of potentially like a larger kind of two panel concept. On the back side of the saddle, you'll see there's two runs of MOLLE. One's on the top, it's going to be very loose, more open, free to connect carabiners, while the bottom portion of the MOLLE is going to be very tight. Those tolerances are intentional. You're going to see exactly what I mean by this when you can clip in a carabiner into one, while the other one is supposed to be more for fixed objects like a gear pouch or dump pouch. Now for the linesman's loops, they're pretty small, actually practical as well when you look at the size and what you get out of them. They're not too big where you're kind of fighting them or impeding, getting hung up into and from the wood. You'll see they are kind of camoed up with that true timber camo pattern, which is a pretty nice touch. And they have a nice vibrant inside red stitching, so visually you can see a carabiner going in through that linesman's loop, so you can identify and clearly see that that's passed through and is locked, just for some additional safety features there. All XCs now have this as a standard AM steel adjustable bridge, which is a pretty nice feature to include. It really just ties in the overall adjustability and ease of use. So when you look at the AM steel, you're going to be able to slide this back and forth pretty easily. On the opposite side, you tend to see knots, but in this case it's a full berry and offers the same adjustability on the side with the Cruzr, which is really nice. It keeps it slim within the profile. The XC comes with standard Cobra Pro style buckles by Austria Alpen. They're extremely safe, they're super strong, they lock very smoothly. You're not going to have an issue with these breaking. You can even open these with one hand. This comes in a matte black. The minimum braking load on this is 18 kilonewtons in pounds. That's just over 4,000 pounds. Within the belt buckle, there's a tri-glide on one side that kind of holds that finished tag end, while the opposite side has a little keeper tab there, which is nice, so you can make adjustments and slot that back in place. The XC has these nice little clips on them on the leg straps with these little keepers that kind of slide up and down and hold the tag end. It's a pretty nice finish. If you want to run these, they certainly do the job and kind of fitting that minimal profile and being very sleek and tight to your legs. They do offer quite a bit of length, so you don't have to have these kind of forced or tightened down by any means, kind of making it uncomfortable to walk with them on. And clearly you can always just attach these on the back side of the saddle and kind of deploy them when you're ready to climb the tree. Now that we've ran through the specs, let's take this out to the tree and see how it performs and just see how comfortable the saddle is, and look at that pleat as well to see what benefits we can get out of that expansion chamber. Let's go. Okay, now that we're at the tree, I'm gonna just lock in really quick into the bridge. This is where you can make those adjustments here, put load in and find out where the bridge length is that you're looking for is desirable to make you more comfortable. At this point, you have the kind of Cruzr that's tied into the saddle. You're free to make adjustments to this as needed, and then once you apply weight into this line, it's going to bite and try to hold to that position. A couple recommendations I would make prior to putting load into the bridge is, number one, find out where the bridge length is that's desirable for you. I typically don't mess with it too much and prefer a longer bridge length. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust mine out. Okay. The next thing is when you put load into this, it's going to bite on both sides of your bridge loops. So wherever you slide these up and down freely, you'll want to make sure if you move these up forward, it's going to bite and pull more at the top. If you put it down low, it's going to want to bite and pull more at the bottom. And you put it in the center, it's going to find a more neutral landing zone for both pressure points. I typically prefer to have mine about middle to halfway up on both sides, and then I'll put load into that, and that gives me a little bit of that lower back support that I'm looking for, and actually takes a little bit of the pressure off of the bottom portion of the saddle. Typically where hot spots tend to live is in that bottom portion where it can kind of cut into your legs. The design on this saddle with the bottom of it is more of a crescent moon type finish. So it's not going to be a straight cut across and then dig into your sides. It's actually kind of cupped already in how it's sewn and the structure of the bottom portion of the saddle to give you a lot of comfort in that area. So I've had the opportunity to sit in this saddle frequently. I've spent a lot of time in it, testing it and sitting in it for just longer durations to see if I can find hot spots in this. And with this setup here, it's been pretty difficult actually to try to find a hot spot. Just using it as is, even not without deploying the pleat in the system. Going into the pleat, what I like about it is I can take the pleat and actually pull it up, and then that gives me more lower back support, where I can find that that's where I'm looking for most relief when sitting in longer sits, and almost kind of pulls out the need for an accessory like a back band. So let me show you what I'm talking about. On the pleat here, on the back, this is where you're going to be able to, you'll want to take a little bit of load out of the saddle, but you'll see that that's going to want to adjust up. Okay, and then the bottom, of course, this is how this would be fully deployed. As you can see there, it gives you a lot more lower back support while still, utilizing a lot of that mesh, and you're not finding any pressure points in between the top portion and the bottom portion of the saddle. Okay, so now that we're sitting in the saddle, you'll see this expansion chamber is now from basically my waistline coming down all the way across and then cupping underneath my legs. Now, with this system, I've taken a lot of that slack out of the tether to kind of drop me down, and so I can bend my knees at a 90-degree angle and sit in this. Now, I'm not sitting against facing the tree, but I am sitting and leaning next to it. I still have my feet on the platform, but in this case, you can turn your body offset and your knees aren't kind of banging into the trees where you might need knee pads or some sort of cushion to help alleviate some of that pressure. For me, this is where I would find a back band to definitely be worthwhile, if you're looking to sit rather than leaning. So in this case, I would definitely recommend using the back band in conjunction with this if you are primarily using the saddle to sit out of. So that's it, guys, the Cruzr XC. This saddle is actually very nice for more of the traditional approach. If you're looking for a single panel option that has that kind of flex within that pleated design, this is going to offer you a lot of solutions for both leaning and sitting, depending on how you play around with and fine-tune this as you sit. You're really not going to find any spots or hot spots that kind of develop. This saddle sits actually very well. And coming from, sitting multiple days, multiple evenings in this for a few hours to try to develop those hot spots is very tough actually to try to find where this might be uncomfortable. Now clearly you can, mess with this and have a higher tether height or have it all pull up from the bottom and kind of mess with it to kind of change the positioning. But if you just tune this right, you can get a lot out of the saddle, and it's going to offer a very comfortable sit and something that I would say would work for mornings, evenings, and all-day rut hunts type situations. Just want to thank everyone for tuning in. For additional content related to saddle hunting, please follow and subscribe as we look to release more products and product reviews on the website.